welcome back to the arena, guys. As discussed, we've got Rote Kapelle coming up here against TurboFeed or Glory. I'm the Basilisk, joined by Miz in the arena. And let's get this show on the road. Miz, what have TurboFeed or Glory brought?
Yeah, so seeing another double shack setup, this time supported by a Scorpion, so that's like a shit ton of points being spent on just 3 heavy battleship. And to support them, there are 2 Pontifex for links, 2 Deacons for repairs, 2 Vexors for utility, and a Skybreaker for tackle. And they're up against the Road who brought Shield EOS. So this is one of the things that Road are really known for, is bringing these unconventional things. And like these EOS are really strong armor tanking ships, but they're brought with a shield setup.
Yeah, and the match gets underway, but you're right. I am really, really excited to see how this Rote Kapelle comp works out with these shield EOSs. This is clearly a drone comp with the Gilas and the EOSs, and they're clearly shields with the Scalpel. So yeah, I mean, EOS only 4 mids, I believe, so probably not going to be the sturdiest command ship in the world. But in this drone comp, they want to keep range and sort of mitigate by staying as far away as possible from these Leshaks. So that tank may not be an issue, or lack thereof of tank.
We're seeing a swarm of drones going for that Scorpion. Drones don't care about ISK'om and taking out that Scorpion. Actually, they're going for the Skybreaker, like just running for his life with this swarm.
Yeah, and Skybreaker is obviously very, very exceptional at killing drones. However, they are particularly proficient at killing ret drones. Skybreakers absolutely murder ret drones, but tank like damage drones from especially health bonus damage drones from EOS and Gila, it has a little bit more trouble with. So I'm a little bit surprised by their such high concern and such high priority on killing off that Skybreaker. But he does finally go down. Maybe, yeah, no, he goes down.
Yeah, so this is an armor Skybreaker, so it's normally a shield ship, so it doesn't have much tank when it's armor fit, and once the drone's caught up, it just melted. We're seeing a bit the BS being applied to the Leshak and to the Pontifex as Koneko. Pontifex can take a lot of damage from these drones as they have a really good application.
Yeah, and I'm by the looks of how this match is progressing already, I think this is going to be a really, really tough time for TurboFeed or Glory. I mean, these Gila drones are just free to do whatever they want, and of course, defanging Gilas is basically futile. Each has got 5 sets of drones. You kill 2 extremely tanky Gila drones, and another 2 pop out. So it's basically pointless. It's very difficult to mitigate from them. And until these Leshaks can manage to get on top of something as their only real damage, until these Leshaks can get on top of something and start killing it, they're going to have a very, very tough time. But the EOSs and Gilas are going to be significantly faster than the Leshaks as well, and there's not really much in the way of support. There's no ranged webs. They've only got those Vexors and the Pontifexes really that need to get on top of something, but so far they're staying pretty compact and just not really doing that.
Yeah, Yield in the Deacon is taking a lot of damage. If they lose that Deacon, they lose the ability to sustain. And it looks like they decided to just stay and then kill out these repair drones, like the damage drones. If they can kill that, they might stabilize, but they really need to kill some of the ships as well. And losing that Deacon, that's not good.
For sure, and even with that strategy, even if they can kill the damage drones, I mean, their main damage is Leshaks. So, I mean, Leshaks are obviously not ideal for killing damage drones because you kill one and then you've got to start your ramp up again on the next one. So the effective damage applied by the Leshaks at clearing the damage drones, I mean, not even including the Optim, is very, very inefficient.
A big issue is that, like we discussed earlier with the double Leshak comp, that they don't have much tackle. They can't pin these ships down. And even though EOS are not known as a really fast ship, it does have a lot of low slots they can use for speed modules. So you could just see the entire Rote Kapelle team just kiting around from those Leshaks, not really taking that much damage. And like there might even actually be local tank armor. Yes, we haven't really seen them been any threatened, so don't know what kind of tank they have on. And even though Mage, Raven, and Healer is taking damage, they're not tackled, so they can just burn out and then catch reps from these scalpels.
Yeah, I think it's a tough matchup going into it, looking at the 2 comps for TurboFeed or Glory. But I think there is also a pretty sort of, I would say, a severe misunderstanding in what to do in this scenario, because if their game plan was to stay bunched up, stay compact, and, you know, prevent it, Rote Kapelle don't want to come into them. Rote Kapelle are just happy to kite around in EOSs and slowly pick them apart. They don't want to come into them. So the onus is on TurboFeed or Glory to make something happen in the match, and just staying compact and trying to kill Gila drones is not going to work. It'll take you more than 10 minutes to kill all of them anyway. And they need to utilize the Vexors and the Pontifexes to do something, to get the Leshaks in where they want to be, into the action, you know, shooting, ramping up, tackle something down, start killing it. But they stayed compact, and the Leshaks are providing very, very little, and there's no other damage on the team.
Yeah, and TurboFeed, they're just turbo feeding their support ships, like both Deacons down, one Pontifex and the Skybreaker. So they're not really having much left. Like the only fast ships they have is the Vexas and the Pontifex, and they have no defense now that the Lodges are gone, and they have this swarm of drone threatening them.
Yeah, and of course, the longer it goes, the harder it gets, because, I mean, obviously 10 is greater than 6, but TurboFeed or Glory, the longer this match goes, the more they're losing their support wing, and that support wing is their only avenue of getting anything done in this match. Once these Pontifex and Vexor goes down, it's just going to be the two Leshaks and the Scorpion, and they haven't got a chance in hell of getting anywhere close to the Eoses or the Gilas. So yeah, it's pretty disastrous for TurboFeed or Glory. On a totally different note, what do you think about the Scorpion pick? 19 points for an E-War battleship.
Yeah, I was about to mention that they spent so many points on battleships, and those battleships haven't really done much in this match. Like the Leshaks can't really get into shooting range, and the Scorpion can't do much against these drones. Like you can jam the ship, but they can just assign it to someone else, and then those drones can still attack. Like the only viable target is the scalpels that you can jam so they can't repair anyone. But why does that matter when you can't apply any damage? So at this point, like, they just have having almost 70 points out of 100 points being dead weight.
Yeah, it's really not good, and I think I would advise TurboFeed or Glory to go back to the drawing board a little bit after this match and try something different, because, I mean, it's not the way. It's not the way. If you come up against something that kites, which does seem to be the meta so far, I mean, these Eoses and Gilas, obviously, but we've seen all day, we've seen Orthruses, we've seen Cerberuses, we've seen Gilas, we've seen Nighthawks, all this sort of stuff. And if you bring two Leshaks and you haven't got any kind of control on the field, you can't get on top of them, and you have no way to actually nail them down and start applying some damage. And that's really a critical, a fatal error, a fatal mistake of this comp, is that it just can't deal with this.
Yeah, it really highlights the importance of having good tackle ships. It's something we often talk about on just having good tackle ships and having your best pilots in these ships, because they are vulnerable, easy to kill if they're not flown right, but they make such a huge difference, even though it's like 2 or 3 points you've spent on a frigate. And this vector of zero gravitas is going down, so at this point, like the only option for the TurboFeed or Glory pilots is to either TurboFeed against a swarm of drones or go for the boundary for some Glory out there.
Yeah, I agree. I think in these kind of comps, we saw it as well in the two Leshak comp fielded by Entropic Thunder, I think. They need some control, and whether that's ranged webs in the form of a Loki or a Hyena, which, I mean, the Hyena can be a little bit iffy sometimes. It also gets eaten alive by rapid light missiles, or you need some sort of fast tack, something like a Vengeance, for example, that can burn in and can hold something down long enough for the Leshak to get on top of it. But spending all these points on a Scorpion it's not good, to be honest. I'm quite disappointed. But yeah, I mean, it's a hard comp from the outset, as we see this Leshak MJDing. Not going to go out of the arena, I don't think. But it's just too little, too late. I think he's trying to reposition himself towards the blob, but he's going to go too far. And yeah, it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, I'm just going to take this moment to shout out to the character Lady Labia for the name and for the pilot behind the character. There's a guy flown with camels, a good guy, and really been. He has a history with the road, and it's good to see that he's back with road and kicking ass. So awesome job, mate, and have fun killing these Leshaks.
Yeah, I saw Lady Labia posting something in Discord the other day. I don't know which one it was, but I think he said he had 220 million skill points on that character, which is obviously an awful lot. So clearly been around a while, clearly an OG of the scene. And yeah, proving his absolute, or her mettle here with this rather dominant performance.
I also recognize like some of the other people on the road team, like May Raven is also one who played for the team for a very long time. So it's good to see these teams, like people with a lot of tournament history. And now I'm just actually looking at May Raven's heelage called Femboy Hooters. So Gentan, if you're out here and listening, this ship is dedicated to you.
That's great. What do you think about this combination of the EOS and the Gilas? Because it's not something we see very often. It is sort of, in theory, kind of a mixed tank, I suppose. The EOS traditionally an armor ship, and the Gila obviously a shield ship. But then Rote choosing to bring presumably these shield EOSes. What do you make of that?
Well, at first, like I was not really convinced, but they give like these option that you have these really strong drone ships, and the scalpel like really good to have, but they're not really that vital for the survival of the EOS. So as long as EOS can just kite, then you can have like an auxiliary armor repair and like some armor resist, and keep them alive that way, and just have scalpels to top them up. But yeah, we didn't see them die. We didn't see them getting threatened, so we don't know exactly how the fits are. And GFs in local, as the match is over, it was TURBOFEED and glory for the road team. Go back to the studio.